So when I say how weak Donald Trump is and how Vladimir Putin easily asserts his dominance over Donald Trump, I don't want you just to think, well, Ben, you're just being hyperbolic. You're just saying that because you don't like Trump. Let me give you just some examples of what's taken place over the past 48 hours, just so you can see how Putin is just humiliating Donald Trump behind the scenes, which if corporate media was being honest, they would report about, but we report about it here. So in the past 48 hours or so, Vladimir Putin has directed his state-run TV to show nude photographs of Melania while the hosts laugh at her. Vladimir Putin has, through state media, denied that he ever had any communications with Donald Trump at all, when Donald Trump claims to the Washington Post that he and Putin had a conversation where Trump told Putin very strongly to de-escalate. Putin put out through his own state-run media, nope, that conversation never happened. Also, Vladimir Putin is not de-escalating. In fact, after that conversation that took place or didn't take place, that Donald Trump claims occurred, Vladimir Putin has escalated, putting more troops into Ukraine and actually showing that his intentions are to try to take over all of Ukraine immediately and not de-escalate at all, like a clear immediate escalation after Donald Trump said that. And in addition, one of Putin's top aides also put out a news release that Donald Trump owes Vladimir Putin for Putin and Russia helping Donald Trump win the election, and Donald Trump needs to return the favor back to Russia, that Russia is now coming to collect from the United States. So, you know, I always come with facts. You know, I always come with receipts. So let's just go through this one by one so you can see that everything I've just said is 100% accurate. So yesterday, the Washington Post headline was as follows: Trump talked to Putin, told Russian leader not to escalate in Ukraine. President-elect Donald Trump spoke with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday and discussed the war in Ukraine, according to people familiar with the call. So again, there is the news just believing what Donald Trump tells them, and whether or not that took place or didn't. Donald Trump says, do not escalate the war. Well, what was Moscow's response to that? You would think that if they were interested in cooperation, right, and that they were afraid of Donald Trump, or as Donald Trump said, he was going to end the war within 24 hours of being elected. Remember that promise? Yeah, that promise was not kept. Don't you think the Kremlin and Putin would be like, yes, we did have that call. It went well. The two people are working well together. No, they're going to humiliate Donald Trump and put him in his place because Putin is dominating Trump, and he wants to show that. So here's what the Kremlin did. And again, don't take my word for it. Watch. Kremlin dismisses reports that Trump and Putin spoke in recent days, calling it pure fiction, calling Donald Trump a liar. Then let's take a look at this other headline from Reuters. Moscow hits back. Putin has now amassed 50,000 soldiers, including North Korean troops, in Kursk ahead of counteroffensive in days, says U.S. Photos show the Russian troops massing on the border. This took place after that call where Donald Trump said very powerfully and very strongly, you need to de-escalate right now. Another article, Russia masses tens of thousands of troops for offensive to retake Kursk. As this account called Darth Putin says, I told Putin not to escalate. What does Putin do 12 hours later? Russian forces have blown up one of the major reservoir dams. The floodwaters are approaching the villages in the region, escalating at every level. Again, the Washington Post says Trump puts his credibility on the line by warning Putin not to escalate the war in Ukraine. There's no credibility. The guy lies about everything. How about the fact that he said he would, again, end the war in 24 hours of being elected. That didn't happen. Here's another account that I think summarizes what's taken place succinctly. Supposedly, Donald Trump called Putin yesterday, demanding the situation not escalate any further. Putin's answer, posting naked photos of Melania, missile threats across Ukraine, more bombers activated by Russia, 50,000 troops on the border, more airplanes getting ready to bomb Ukraine. Very good job, Donald. He must be very, very, very afraid of you. As the New Republic put it, Russian President Vladimir Putin has already waltzed right past a pointed warning from Trump, sending tens of thousands of soldiers to the Ukrainian war front right there. You take a look at the Moscow state-run propaganda. Putrachev told who Trump owes after winning the U.S. election. This is what one of Putin's top aides says. Trump relied on forces to which he now has obligations. In other words, Russia is coming to collect from Donald Trump. Here's the release from Moscow's state-run agency. Trump, who won the U.S. presidential election, relied during his campaign on forces to which he has obligations, and as a responsible person, he will be obliged to fulfill them, said Russian presidential aide and chairman of the Russian Maritime College, Nikolai Putrachev, in an interview with one of their state-run newspapers. To achieve success in the elections, Donald Trump relied on certain forces to which he has corresponding obligations, and as a responsible person, he will be obliged to fulfill them. Another article, Trump to rely on forces that brought him to power, Russian presidential aide. It's like one of Putin's top people. Again, Putin's top person would not be making that statement publicly if Putin didn't tell him to do that, right? People in Russia and Putin's inner circle, they don't speak out of turn or else they get killed. So that's a direct message from Putin saying to Donald Trump, pay up right now. And again, I know sometimes I sound like a broken record when I do these videos, but other than the MeidasTouch network, do you hear any corporate media or any other media at all talking about that? Like, you think that would be a big story, right? That Vladimir Putin's top presidential aide is announcing publicly in an official communique, in an official Moscow press release, that Donald Trump needs to fulfill his obligations for Russia helping Donald Trump in the election. Not a peep. Not a peep. Oh, and then, by the way, you then had Russia's top... I covered this yesterday, but I think it all fits together with Putin showing his dominance over Donald Trump, with Putin's state-run media agency literally, just for no reason at all, other than to mock Donald Trump and Melania, showing Melania's nudes over and over again as the hosts literally were laughing and cracking up and mocking the United States of America and mocking Donald Trump and treating the United States like a piece of crap that they don't respect for minutes and minutes with just these stupid photos and ridiculous photos of Melania. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's son, Don Jr., is also one of his senior advisors. You know, I guess he likes this. He likes when he likes when America's being mocked by Russia like this. So he decides it would be a smart thing to go and mock Zelensky. So Don Jr. posts, "Hey Zelensky, you're 38 days from losing your allowance." Mocking Zelensky right there. Your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. So if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA, and they use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long. No matter the weather, get better sleeps. I do now thanks to Miracle Made sheets. They're luxuriously comfortable and without the high price tag of other luxury brands. I think they are nicer than the sheets used by some five-star hotels. They're infused with silver that prevent up to 90 99.7% bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets, so no more gross odor. So stop sleeping on bacteria, which can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. Just sleep clean with Miracle. Go to trymiracle.com/Meidas and try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order them today, you can save 40%. And if you use our promo Meidas at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep now with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Meidas, M-E-I-D-A-S, and use the code Meidas to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Meidas to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. I want to reflect on this for a moment, though, because I do want to show you and remind you what strength is. This is what President Biden said previously at the 75th anniversary NATO conference about Putin wanting to break NATO, but NATO is stronger than ever. And I think it's important to play this clip of Biden now after showing you what Putin is doing to Donald Trump, because notice Putin didn't do that stuff to Biden. That wasn't taking place. Why? Because Biden actually exercised real power by uniting NATO, not by stupid tweets or posting things on Instagram or putting like dumb memes together. This was President Biden recently at the 75th anniversary NATO conference. Play this clip.
Before this war, Putin thought NATO would break. Today, NATO is stronger than it's ever been in its history. When this senseless war began, Ukraine was a free country. Today, it is still a free country. And the war will end with Ukraine remaining a free and independent country. Russia will not prevail. Ukraine will prevail.
And here was the former conservative prime minister of Australia. Here's what he had to say previously. And I've showed you this clip before, but I think it's worth mentioning now. Just the level of fanboying that Donald Trump has for Putin. Here's Prime Minister Turnbull of Australia. I know we have a lot of Australian Meidas Mighty followers out there. Here, watch this.
When you see Trump with Putin, as I have on a few occasions, he's like the 12-year-old boy that goes to high school and meets the captain of the football team. My hero. It is really creepy. It's really creepy. Now,
and that struck you at the time?
Oh, absolutely. It struck everybody. It was like you could touch it. It was creepy. The creepiness was palpable.
Are you trying to say they're having a bromance?
No, I'm not saying. I'm just telling you what I saw. Regrettably, the Republican Party under Donald Trump, and particularly the right wing of the Republican Party, are very sympathetic to Vladimir Putin. I mean, I've been with Trump and Putin. Trump is in awe of Putin. Tyrants are often popular. You see, the key to democracy, liberal democracy, is that it empowers the majority, but it also, through the rule of law, constrains the majority. And if you get to the point where anybody who can muster a majority, and I don't think Trump can do that, by the way, but anyone who can muster a majority is given absolute power and then can do whatever they like to the minority, that's not a democracy. That is a tyranny. That is an autocracy, even if it's got the support of 51% of the population. That is not what makes a democracy. A democracy, as we understand it, is one where the rule of law protects all citizens and the rule of law applies to all citizens, whether they're the president or the prime minister or an ordinary, elector.
So, folks, just to recap for you, you have Vladimir Putin directing state TV in Russia to do Melania nudes. You have Vladimir Putin refusing to acknowledge that a phone call even took place with Donald Trump. After Trump claims he told Putin to de-escalate, Putin has only escalated the troops and forces. And then you have Vladimir Putin's top presidential aide to Vladimir Putin out there saying that Donald Trump needs to repay Russia for Russia helping him get elected, or words to that effect is what the Russian presidential aide was saying. So anyway, you take that as it is. I'm not showing clips of Trump. I'm making a commitment not to show Trump's voice on here. So that's why I could show you a ton of clips of Donald Trump saying ridiculous things about how much he loves Putin, but I think you get the point. Again, I'm not seeing this anywhere else in any other news network, but do the research yourself. And that's what it looks like. That's what weakness looks like with Trump. Tell me what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.